Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How's it going, everybody? Savage here with you for yet another episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Coming to you, as always, from Cranium Wheel Studios in the beautiful Alpine village of Idlewild, California. Just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but a world away at nearly 6,000 feet high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. As a way of answering some of the DMs we've been receiving, asking who's coming up on the podcast in the weeks to come, I got a little bit of a teaser for you. Oscar and Golden Globe nominated actress Ann Archer will be returning to the show to talk more about her career and her job as head of the Idlewild Cinema Fest grand jury since 2017. My great friend Irene Bedard, the voice and model of the classic Disney character Pocahontas, will be here to speak about her great career, including her new Netflix series American Primeval, among other things. And I'm looking forward to that. And one of my partners in crime for nearly 2 decades, Oscar and BAFTA-winning screenwriter and producer Leslie Patterson, will be around to tell us what she's got going on next after the major success of her Netflix blockbuster, All Quiet on the Western Front. So stay tuned for that and more. And before I introduce our special in-studio guest for today's episode, allow me to give a shout out to a couple of our local Idlewild sponsors who display such amazing support for the Idlewild Film Festival each and every year. As we go into our 17th year, believe it or not, this coming March 3rd through the 8th. As you know, the Idlewild Festival is not corporate sponsored, but completely independent in both content and execution. And so we'd be talking about our main lodging sponsor, the Talkeets Pines Retreat, an amazing facility for weekend stays, romantic getaways, conferences, weddings, family reunions, just about any sort of gathering, large or small, you can think of. And they're a great group of people, so find them online at talkeetspines.com. Also, Faro Restaurant, the best Italian food in Idlewild and anywhere else on the planet for that matter, with your hosts Frank and Lori Faro, who they've also been festival sponsors from our very first year 17 years ago. Faro, it's Italian elevated. And to our home base, the Rustic Theater, our theater home since the festival's first season, where owners Gail and Graham Sutherland offer up first-run Hollywood movies, independent films, live music events, and more. The Rustic Theater, Idlewild, California. La Casita Restaurant, simply the best Mexican food around. La Casita, an Idlewild Film Festival favorite. And last but not least, the Peak Restaurant, located at the heart of the Talkeets Pines Retreat. I don't know, you just have to see this newer facility, the Talkeets Pines Retreat, to understand what it is. It's a beautiful acre upon acre place for all your gathering needs, and the Peak Restaurant is dead center and quite an amazing restaurant, and they host a lot of our parties and events. The premier party and event location is the Talkeets Pines and the Peak Restaurant. Great food and always filmmaker friendly. All right, I'm excited to bring on my 2 guests for today as they represent a group of filmmakers that is so very important to the filmmaking process, but has long been somewhat overlooked, I'd say, not so much by directors and crew, but by the mainstream of Hollywood. And that, of course, is the stunt performer community. And now the recognition that's so long been given a back seat in the industry has been finding a well-deserved spotlight, I think, when it comes to awards and overall recognition. And out of my own longtime personal respect for those amazing men and women in the stunt field, I wanted to have 2 of my friends on the show to allow my listeners to understand a bit better what the careers of stunt performers and stunt coordinators worldwide is like. So I'm doing that today, and I'm happy to have a couple of really amazing human beings on today, guys who work all the time, and I'm Well, first, let me welcome onto the show a man whose body of work includes performing as a stunt player and stunt coordinator in such great films as Venom, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Stranger Things, and his recent Emmy-winning stunt coordinating work on the Righteous Gemstones. He's also a producer and an actor and a Red Bull competition champion and a lifelong martial artist. So let me bring in, ladies and gentlemen, Corey DeMyers. Corey, how are you, buddy?
Very good. Thank you for having me. That's quite the intro. It's funny. You never really think about all that stuff because you just keep moving forward, and it's kind of interesting to be able to sit back for a second and hear some of the crazy things that I've gotten a chance to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all well deserved. I got to tell you, that was one long walk during the Emmy ceremony.
It really was. It really was.
I'm watching it and going, where did they have that boy sitting? So congrats on that, man. And where are you calling in from?
Thank you so much. I'm calling in from Chicago right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here on a project with a really good friend of mine who was a stuntman himself. He moved into writing a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and him and his writing partner wrote in the writing room for Power Book Force season 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this feature film that they had written about his life because it's really unbelievable. And we were able to get that together. So we're out here in Chicago shooting his biopic.
Oh, sweet. That sounds like a nice gig. Cool.
Yeah.
And the other great stunt guru and friend of mine that I'm fortunate enough to have on today hails originally from Australia, but is now based here in the U.S. His stunt work has been in such amazing projects as Mad Max Fury Road, X-Men Wolverine, the great series which I'm enjoying watching with Jake Gyllenhaal, Roadhouse. Let's see, Teen Wolf, Farscape. The list goes on and on. I'd be here all day. But I'm proud to say that he'll be taking on the stunt coordinating position on my upcoming feature film, Monkey Grip, which is going to be my first Directors Guild of America signatory film, which I'm stoked about. And I'm proud to have this guy on the show today, Mr. Judd Wild. Judd, how's it going, hardworking man?
Good. Thanks for having me. And it's nice to be here with Corey as well. He's very successful and doing so great at the moment. So very proud of you, bro.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, no, crushing it, bro. Very good.
Where are you calling in from, Judd?
I'm actually working at home in Savannah, Georgia right now, which is
nice.
Fantastic. Doing a little feature here called Paradise Disturbed at the moment, and it's great to be working at home.
You guys are always working constantly, though. I mean, that's whenever I try, like I'll try to give you a call or send a text. You're both texting back. Sorry, man, I'm on set today in some far off country I've never heard of. Is it management or agents like actors who aren't jumping through flaming plane wrecks, or is it just a constant hustle to grab that next gig? I'll start with Corey. How do you actually line up gigs, and how have you been able to work so much when so much of Hollywood is just like going, oh, there's no jobs out there? You seem to be doing a lot.
Yeah. Well, you know what? First of all, I can't sit still. So that's helpful. I'll drive myself crazy if I sit around the house and don't do anything. So, I think I'm constantly actively looking for stuff. I do have an agent now
Mm-hmm.
as a coordinator and a second unit director. But 99% of the projects that I've been a part of are really relationship based. And you know how important that is in this business, keeping great relationships.
Right.
And I've gotten things from student films that I did 15 years ago have come back around,
Right.
go help out for free, help these students make their projects. And then 15 years later, get a phone call and they remembered working with me back then. So it's just constantly building relationships and I would say not just building relationships, but helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I still do student films. I still do short film projects of my own, but of other people's. And so I kind of don't say no to work if the people seem interesting and kind.
Mm-hmm.
And because I take everything that comes my way, I get to meet a lot more people and then bigger projects follow. I think it's all about creating momentum.
Right. I think, Judd, you'll probably agree with that as well, because you've proven it to me that it's like if you get a script that you really like, you're willing to work for a little less or a few more days or whatever it takes. I think relationships are based on our mutual appreciation of one another's talents.
Yeah, absolutely.
What Corey said, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It is about those relationships, and and also just putting in 150% on everything you do, and people notice, if you're constantly, doing your best and taking care of the people around you and everyone around you, for instance, the young guys that were PAs on a set now, are big directors, and I did their YouTube stuff at the beginning, and exactly what Corey was saying. Now they're, big directors, and I'm the first call that they give out because they remembered, what we did together when they were starting out, and luckily they're loyal. So, been very fortunate to come across talented people like that in my career.
And we all like working with our friends, people who not just know as people, but I mean, their work and what you can count on, and I always appreciate that. But Corey, are you working through a management or agency right now?
On this particular project, I'm not, but I have been actually with UTA for the last 3 years.
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
and what I'll say is interestingly enough, when I first started working with them, I was on such a roll that year that they helped me manage some of those negotiations and travel dates and stuff like that. And I appreciate that help, because I want to make sure I continue to have a good relationship with the above the line on the show, and I don't want to push anybody's buttons wrong. So it's nice to have somebody there to kind of walk through the fire for you, because, sometimes negotiating can get rough, and that's been very helpful. But I have kind of just been knocking out all the things that have been lined up the last couple of years. And then just recently, things have been a little bit slow in the industry in general. But a few days ago, I got a phone call for a few different things that I was getting submitted to. So hopefully, we'll see some results there, a few irons in the fire, and hopefully something will pop on the agency side.
Right.
But I generally, if I get a call, I'll send it to them if it's something that they need to handle, just so I can stay out of that portion of it and focus on being, a good stunt coordinator and not have to worry about the business part of it,
Yeah. Well, Judd, you kind of have a company, right? I mean, so you kind of have to wear all those hats. You kind of have to be in on the business end of so much of what you do.
Well, yes and no, but like myself, like most stunt performers, we operate under a corporation. It's just it's better that way for tax benefits and to look after yourself. But I don't hire people, so to speak. That's all done through production.
Ah, got it. And you're both filmmakers outside of your stunt work, like producing, directing. Corey, you've been acting. I'm not sure if Judd's ever really acted, done the dialogue thing. But what drives you guys the most? Is the stunt work? Because most people don't really understand what goes into stunt work. Is it just a passion to fall off of buildings, or what? What is it that really drives you guys with the work you do?
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idlewild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tap beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in a village lane in downtown Idlewild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Idlewild isn't just a scenic mountain town, it's a living gallery. The Art Alliance of Idlewild supports local artists, funds youth art programs, and hosts world-class events that turn our town into an art lover's destination. Become a member, attend an event, or donate to support the arts. Follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idlewild, or visit artinidlewild.org and be part of our creative community.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's Yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of screws loose in the to get into this industry. So, the way I look at it, people ask me, how do you get into the industry? And the real only two answers are you're either born into it or you're indoctored into it. There is a third where if you have an amazing set of skills that is, world class, then, you generally get in that way. But majority of the time, yeah, you're born into it, your family or someone will take you under their wing and, get you into the business that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's a lot. The uncanniness of being able to get up after getting knocked down multiple times, because,
Right.
as you know, most people can fall over once. But,
Yeah.
it's being able to get up and do it again, take after take.
Right.
And it's a real mindset, I believe, and I'm sure Corey will back me up on this. You've got to be mentally strong, because when we're at work, it's not like, okay, we're doing a beach scene, but it's in wintertime, or we're doing a Viking scene, but it'll be in Kuala Lumpur in the hottest sun you can ever imagine. So, you've got to really be mentally strong for that sort of stuff, wearing all the wardrobe and stuff. But it's been a trip, that's for sure.
Yeah, I want Corey. I was going to ask you this. I know you've acted before. You've been on both sides of that sort of, the dynamic of stunt players and reading dialogue into a camera. But explain to my listeners what it takes, as Judd was just mentioning, to be a stunt performer. Is there a certain type of person that fits into the mold, or it's not only physically demanding, but it's heavy on the brain work. I've never met a done stunt performer before. So yeah, what are your thoughts?
No, I'm with you. I think it definitely takes a toll on you mentally as well as physically, and sometimes the mental side of it's a lot harder. I think what drove me in this direction is, I mean, you have to be athletic, right? I know it sounds silly saying that, but like, you have to have a level of physical ability to be able to do what we do. And you can learn all of the other skills as you go. There's so many skills that are stunt specific for film. Those kinds of things you can pick up, but you have to be good at time management. You have to be good at taking care of yourself mentally and physically. And there is, I say I don't want to handle the business portion, but there's also a business aspect. You need to have all of your sizes together and all of your contract info together. So that way, when somebody like Judd or I reaches out to you and we want to bring you in on the show, it doesn't take us 5 days to pull all of your information together. If I need to hire somebody, stunt performer has to be organized enough with their portion of their business to get that information over to us. So that way we can bring you in without too much fuss and pass on your info to the production office. And so I think that, health and fitness, very important, mental health important, but also strong organizational and communication skills, because it doesn't matter what department you're in. If you're not strong at communicating, it can cause a lot of problems, right? And I always say that filmmaking and stunts is communication is the number one skill set that you have to have no matter what you're trying to create. Right.
I don't know. It seems to me like I've had so many meetings with Judd about getting started on this film, and again, Judd, I want to thank you just for having the patience. We've had a couple, I won't even call them setbacks, but for various reasons, we've had 2 pushes, and now I'm finally confident we're going to get this done. But he's just been so patient with it, because I think he likes the script. It's not about me so much as the work will be good. But Judd, you and I have talked about a little bit about that, about bringing people on. And again, I think that might come back to just people you've worked with, people you know. But have you found it, since you've based yourself in the U.S. now, how hard or how easy was it for you to put a network of people together that you can call on, as Corey said, just, who are ready to go at a moment's notice?
It's, I don't know, there's a lot of stunt people. It's a massive pool of stunt people. But a lot of the people don't have the skill set that's all look that you require. So, at the moment, one of our cast as 6 foot, 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
and needs to do parkour. And I'm like, well, there's not a great deal of guys in the Georgia area that are 6'5" and can do parkour well.
Yeah.
Right.
So, even though there is a great pool, it becomes, performer specific and the job itself. So, everything gets a lot smaller. That pool gets a lot smaller as you go.
Right. You guys have worked all over the world. I find it fascinating. And like, Judd, is there a difference working with crews in Australia as opposed to here in the States? And for both of you, as you both work, like I said, internationally, is there a difference when working with crews? And if you have to pull people, let's say you're in a third world country and you need to pull somebody in, you guys are responsible for it's an amazing responsibility, the overall safety of the stunt crew, no doubt, no matter where you're filming, I suppose. So what do you guys think on working internationally or with American crews, or Judd with Australian crews?
Well, the different, international crews are, very, very different. Everything's organized a lot differently, but especially third world countries, you've just got to be really patient, because there's always language barriers and, skill sets of people that, aren't quite as high as the States. So, I don't mind it. It takes a special mindset to be able to deal with people without, because you ask them to, okay, when is this going to be here? It's on its way. And then hours passed.
Right.
It's on its way, and some people get upset, but yeah, you've just got to be, as I said, just really patient and understanding of different cultures. And, we were just in Saudi and, we're like, where is everyone? And they're like, oh, they went off to pray right in the middle of a take. So it's like, oh, that's all good. That's their culture. And you've got to be, mindful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's good people, like you said, there's a high concentration of highly skilled stunt professionals and film laborers in the States, right? Hollywood, quote unquote, was the hub for so long, but even Hollywood in the States now is fragmented. And Judd's down in Georgia now, right? You're still out there, and which the last time I saw you, it was there a couple of years ago. But it was even when the Georgia film community was really exploding, this time around, there's always been a little bit of film there, but the skills grow as the industry grows in that area. So maybe you had some people that had done some film, but nowadays there's very skilled people in Georgia, right? There's very skilled people in all of the film markets throughout the United States now. And I think the way we make films here and how seriously we take film here, is it's a different level than a lot of other places. And you still have a lot of films that start in America and then go other places, and you're going to find really great people there too. But I do think that there's something special about being a filmmaker in the States and getting to travel. I think we take it seriously in a different way. We take it more serious in a different way than a lot of people in these other countries. And that's not to detract. A great example is Judd is here in the States now, right? Like, you did things at home and you were a filmmaker and a stuntman in Australia, but you're now here doing that, because this is the place that people think of when they think of film,
100%. This is the Mecca. This is the place if you want to work with the best people.
Right.
And Hollywood's become like an umbrella sort of phrase, or word. It's like there's so much filmmaking going on in every state in the U.S., let alone outside of the country. But Judd, how did you end up coming to the States? Was it just that you thought the work was here? Because you were pretty well established in Australia. What was the final decision?
I've always wanted to move to the States since I was a little kid. It's quite weird that it took me so long, but I was constantly coming backwards and forwards, and but as Corey said, it's the place to be if you want to be the best at your craft. So that's where I wanted to be, and I want to work with the best in the industry. So it's here. But plus, to be 100% honest, I love how Americans think, and how they if you have a dream, people actually go, "Oh, how can I help you?" Where Australia has a lot of tall poppy syndrome. If you want to try and succeed, they try and, pull you back down to say, it's called tall poppy syndrome, which is it's a little bit disappointing. But here is just everyone, well, your friends anyway, will encourage you and believe in you and try and make the best that you can be, which is one of the main reasons that I wanted to be here.
Well, like I said earlier, you just seem to be working all the time. So whatever you're doing, it's right.
Thanks.
What do you guys have coming on? Well, you know what? I'll wrap this into one question because I want people to know more about stunt performers, especially stunt coordinators and people who are in the industry a lot. It needs to come more to the forefront because, like I said, somebody falls off a building in a Netflix series you're watching. Everybody goes, "Oh, wow." None of them really. Nobody thinks about what goes into that single effort of having a guy fall off a building, let's say. And you guys are able to, I don't want to say seamlessly because there's a lot of work involved, but you guys know your craft so well now that, I don't know, I just find it really, really interesting that you can come into the industry, again, that umbrella word Hollywood, but you can pick something. I want to be an actor. I want to be even a grip or electrician, hard jobs. But to me, stunt performing I don't even know how to explain it. It's like you guys are the Game of Thrones of the film industry. So,
Yeah.
Both of you, give me your thoughts on where you think your career's at and where you want to be.
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, our job is, we have two main jobs, and one is to mitigate risk, whether you're a performer or a stunt coordinator. And we do that through planning and preparation and bringing in the right team to get the job done safely. And then the other thing that we're doing is telling stories and advancing characters through physicality, right? And I always say it's nonverbal storytelling is what we do as stunt performers. And that kind of leads me into the next part of your question was, I've always, even as a stuntman, I considered myself a filmmaker and a storyteller. I wasn't here just to fall down. I was here to fall down in a way that challenges our characters to grow or fail, right? Throughout this story, there's a reason I'm falling. There's a reason we're doing this fight. There's a reason this guy is coming off the building. And, I don't get as in my head about it as you would if you were playing, a lead character role. But I do think about those motivations. And I think whether you're a performer or a coordinator, that's the right direction to think about your action, right? The director is telling a story. So how can the actions we're doing within the script help the director tell that story, right? It's not just cool action to be cool action. Well, some movies, there's a couple, there's some fun action movies that are only about the action, but most of the time you're trying to tell a story. So that's my approach. And I think moving forward in my career, I am coordinating a lot more. I still perform a little bit, but I'm coordinating a lot more. I'm second unit directing on this project that I'm producing here in Chicago. And that's a direction that I would love to go. I would love to do more second unit, and then eventually I would love to be directing first unit. And I don't even need to be directing action movies. I just want to tell good stories. And if there's great action in them, that's awesome. But that's the direction that I'm trying to plan for. And by plan for, it's take every opportunity that comes my way to shoot a short film, to shoot a commercial, to direct second unit, and continue to build that skill set as a storyteller from a directorial and producing position. So that way, when these opportunities arise, I will have trained in that side of the business, opposed to just doing stunts, never getting any seat time as a director or a producer, and then just hoping one day something happens,
Sure. That's interesting, your take on, I guess you would call it method stunts.
Yeah. Method stunts, exactly.
There you go. Judd, what are you working on now, buddy, besides, helping me with my feature? You got a lot going on.
Well, I don't know about that. Corey's buddy, the president of the National Stunt Association as well as everything else. So I don't think that I can say that I'm that busy. But how is that, by the way, Corey? Does it take up a lot of your time?
It's, you know what, it is, it can be a lot of work. I like to think that I'm an active president. And I guess to give your listeners a little bit of a backstory is these stunt associations and these stunt groups that started, the first one started in the 50s, which was the Stuntmen's Association. And that was before stunt performers were a part of the Screen Actors Guild. And it was a way for these stunt people to get together and watch each other's back and kind of set rates and make sure everybody was getting treated fairly, because they weren't being looked after, but then also help each other get work. Nowadays, they still help each other get work. They're like mini teams. But I think it's like an honorary position, wouldn't you say, kind of, Judd? It's like it's a team, but it's also like a nice little check mark when you get into one of these groups, or if you get into one of these groups. And so we operate as a nonprofit. And the International Stunt Association, we also call it ISA. It's been around since 1980. And it's a stunt club where we can talk about the business. We can give each other advice. We can borrow each other's gear. We can hire each other. But we also do a lot of charitable things as well throughout the year. We throw stunt events to raise money to give away to some charities that are very near and dear to our heart, or to help injured and sick stunt performers. So that's kind of the business of our group. But it could be as chill or as busy as you want it to be. And I've been very active helping rebrand it and bring in new upstanding young members, and then trying to really just do positive things inside the stunt community, not just for our group, but for other performers. So that's a long-winded answer to your question, Judd, but it can be a lot of work, and I'm very active. So, it takes up probably, honestly, like I would say 10 to 12 hours a week, which is a good amount of time, considering.
Yeah. Well,
Great, mate.
Yeah.
You are changing it a lot, and people notice. So, yeah, kudos to you, mate.
Good for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's the old saying? If you, by the time you get asked to be a part of those clubs, you don't need to.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you've got a good enough, career that you can get work without. But, it is a brotherhood, and, it's pretty cool to be a part of those teams.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. All right, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of the Stephen Savage Show. I want to thank everyone for listening in and for spreading the word about the show, which has been vital to increasing our listenership on a daily basis on every platform. And we at the Savage Podcasting Network truly appreciate it. So for producer Nicole Hughes, executive producer Steve Tuma, engineer Maurice Sudo, and for Corey DeMyers and Judd Wild, as well as myself, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Savage. Thanks, Corey. Bye, guys.